work and live. For over 20 years, I have researched and taught in the areas of business transformation, looking at how organizations and people adopt technology and change. Think back to the early 2000s. I know some of you may not have even been born yet, but I'm sure you would have heard from your family members, media, books, articles of how technology was reshaping industries at an incredible pace during that time. Digital cameras were beginning to replace traditional film, giving people the freedom to take hundreds of photos without worrying about the roll of only 24 shots. The rise of the internet suddenly placed a world of information at our fingertips, making research, communication, and entertainment more accessible than ever before. At the same time, the rapid spread of mobile devices meant that people could be contactable anywhere and anytime as long as there was a mobile signal. These shifts fundamentally some companies embraced these changes and thrived, others hesitated. Take Kodak, for example. It once dominated photography worldwide, but when digital technology emerged, Kodak held onto its film business for far too long. Despite having invented some of the first digital cameras, it failed to reinvent itself and quickly lost its market to more agile competitors. The same happened with Nokia, once the world leader in mobile phones. By underestimating the shift to smartphones, it fell behind Apple and Samsung. And who can forget the Blockbuster, a household name in movie rentals, disrupted by Netflix, which saw the future of streaming long before others did. These stories show us a powerful truth. Companies that failed to adopt to technological change were overtaken by those that did. Today, we are entering a new wave of transformation led by the artificial intelligence. Just as digital technology reshaped businesses in the 2000s, AI is now reshaping how entire society works, learns, and lives. Artificial intelligence, often called AI, is no longer science fiction. It is woven into your favorite apps, rerouted you around traffic. Well, that's AI. It's also AI when TikTok curates your For You page with content it knows you'll keep watching, or when Instagram recommends reels and posts based on what you've liked before. These aren't coincidences, they're powerful algorithms learning from your behavior and predicting what you want next. But here's the challenge. If AI is everywhere, then we can't afford to ignore it. We need to understand it, use it, and question it. Because AI is more than a tool, it is a tool of the future. Today, we'll explore three questions. First is, what should students learn about AI? Second is, why is it urgent to learn about AI? And the third one is, how will AI shape future careers and lives? So what exactly is AI? At its simplest, AI refers to machines doing tasks that usually require human intelligence. Output. For example, in an early chatbot, if a user typed hello, the system would almost certainly respond with hello, how can I help you? If someone typed hours, the system might reply, we are open from 9 to 5. These systems could only do what they were explicitly told. They were rigid and predictable, and they could not adapt when faced with new or unexpected situations. Modern AI is based on machine learning and works very differently. Instead of being programmed with rules for every situation, it is trained on large amounts of data to identify patterns and make predictions. For example, a spam filter can be shown thousands of emails already labeled as spam or not spam. From these data, the AI learns to spot the statistical patterns, such as certain words, suspicious email addresses, or formatting that make an email more likely to be spam. Once trained, it can make decisions about new emails it has never seen before. Deep learning, which is a more advanced form of machine learning, uses layered artificial neural networks inspired by how the human brain processes information. These networks allow AI to recognize speech, translate languages, detect objects in images, and even play complex games. The strength of deep learning is that it can detect very complex patterns in very large datasets, far beyond what traditional programming could manage. Generative AI, such as ChatGPT, Claude, Midjourney, Anthropic, Copilot, and others, are the latest leap forward, and they go far beyond prediction. Instead of only recognizing or classifying information, generative AI, or Gen AI in short, can create new content. Trained on enormous amounts of text, images, or audio, generative AI can write essays, draft business plans, produce artwork, compose music, or even generate videos. It works by predicting the most likely sequence of words, pixels, or sounds, producing outputs that often feel as though they were created by a human. So with this, the question I will pose to you is, if a machine can draft an essay or design a logo in seconds, what does that mean for the skills you need to stand out in the workforce? So let us explore. Why must we learn how to use and apply AI? We already established that AI is everywhere. Banking apps flag suspicious transactions. Hospitals use AI to assess scans. Farmers use drones with AI to monitor crops. Artists use AI to experiment with new forms of creativity. This is not only a specialist technology, it is a part of daily life. So AI is changing jobs. Research shows routine work is already being automated. A marketing assistant no longer spends hours drafting emails. AI drafts the first version. A lawyer may not use Gen AI to initially review contracts. AI can highlight the risky clauses. Human work shifts from repetitive tasks to critical decision-making activities. Ethical use is important. AI is powerful but imperfect. It can hallucinate, producing wrong answers. It can reproduce harmful biases. It can challenge academic integrity when students rely on it too heavily. This brings us to a next question of what exactly should students learn? First is AI literacy. It is essential. It ensures understanding what AI is and isn't. Knowing how chatbot generates answers is important. Recognizing limits, like why AI sometimes hallucinate, asking where did this answer really come from? Can I trust that? Practical skills are important. Hands-on skills matter. You should practice using AI to brainstorm, draft plans, test code, or debug software. Creating AI-assisted visuals for presentations can increase your productivity. The goal isn't blind reliance on AI. It is confidence is using tools wisely. Problem solving with AI is another issue to tackle. Students should apply AI to real-world challenges. For example, learning how to propose AI-enabled business improvements is important. Using AI carefully and systematically by ensuring problems are broken down. Assessing and analyzing AI responses for correctness is the key. This is where creativity meets technology. Ethics and responsibility are critical. Tough questions should be asked when it comes to ethics and responsible use of AI. Can AI be used for these tasks? Are there any ethical or legal constraints? If I use AI, how do I show what's mine? Who owns the copyright of an AI-generated content? If AI reflects bias, how do I spot and correct it? If AI hallucinate, will I be able to spot it? Or is domain expert required for this task? Building of ethical reflexes is as important as building of the technical competencies. Collaboration and communication are essential. Workplaces will expect graduates to explain AI-generated results to teams, clients, and supervisors. That requires clarity, teamwork, and accountability. Imagine presenting a marketing strategy where half of the visuals were created with AI. How do you disclose that honestly? How do you explain the strengths and weaknesses of the process? To be able to tackle these, you may ask, how do you build the critical skills? Not through standard tests alone. Standard tests ensure students have the critical domain knowledge. Use of generative AI, for example, can be applied and trained via authentic learning. Authentic assessments give students the opportunity to work on real projects, such as designing and proposing an AI-enabled platform for a local business. Research integration within such projects can encourage students to investigate how AI is transforming the discipline. Furthermore, industry engagement ensures that students learn what truly matters for the future job roles. When students solve real problems with the assistance of AI tools, supported by academics and industry, they gain skills that textbook alone cannot teach. So what does this mean for the future work? The future belongs to AI-augmented professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, engineers, IT professionals, who bring human judgment, creativity, and ethics into partnerships with AI. In healthcare, AI can be used to detect anomalies in medical images, but the radiologist isn't made redundant. Instead, the doctor combines AI pattern recognition with human expertise in patient care. AI also assists in the development of personalized treatments. That partnership can save lives. The same will happen across industries. AI doing the heavy data analysis, humans bringing context, domain expertise, empathy, and decision making. AI represents both a challenge and an opportunity. It disrupts how we learn, work, but it also opens new doors for innovation, creativity, and efficiency. Students who learn how to utilize AI systems correctly today will be tomorrow's leaders. So the question is not, will AI change education at work? It already has. The real question is, are we preparing ourselves to thrive in that reality? The future is already here. Let's make sure we are ready for it. So learn the domain knowledge, explore the use of generative AI tools within that domain. Use Gen AI legally, responsibly, and ethically. Be critical of the outputs and explore the generative AI future potentials. Thank you very much for joining me today.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the presentation by Associate Professor Anna Ho. AI is indeed powerful, but it's imperfect. That means the real responsibility falls on us as a user to apply critical thinking and reflect on ethics every time we use it.
Yeah, that's right. I also have like Sam's point that on how our first speaker speak that what came to my mind is about we should understand, use, and question it. We should question the AI. So at the end, it's not about what AI can do, but how we choose to use it, right? Okay, that's very wonderful speakers from our first speakers. Now let's move to our second speaker. Our next speaker is Dr. Olivia Inwood. She is Academic Literacy Coordinator at Western Sydney University Library, where she leads the development and implementation of university's academic literacy and strategy. So with a strong commitment to equitable education, she supports academic literacy initiative across one of Australia's most socio-economical diverse student cohort. She has a strong interest in helping university students develop artificial intelligence literacy skills. So, without further ado, Dr. Olivia, floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, I'm really honored to join you all today for this webinar. And I really hope what I present will continue on from those great themes that Professor Anna talked about in her discussion, particularly in terms of, how do we build our skills in generative AI, but also the importance of domain knowledge that she was stressing. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. Just using Adobe for my slides. Great. Yes, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, firstly, happy International Literacy Day. This is, a great day to have a webinar. So, again, thank you very much, yeah, for hosting this. So, yeah, my focus is really on Gen AI for students, continuing on with some of Anna's themes, but I've also got some kind of interactive activities as well to get us like using generative AI, but also thinking critically about it. So again, hopefully covering some really key points that Anna made. So yeah, first I just wanted to start with a bit of a tradition in Australia to do a acknowledgement of country. So I just want to acknowledge that I'm on the lands of the Darug people, or the Darug Nation of the Barramadigal people. So that's in Penrith, Sydney. And I pay my respects to all traditional custodians of those unceded lands and waterways. And you might, like to type in the chat as well, anyone that you would like to respect based on the lands that you are on today. And it's wonderful that we belong to a community that's so global. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for letting me just briefly say that acknowledgement of country. So yes, it's International Literacy Day. So I really wanted to start off just briefly talking about, what do we mean by literacy? How is it relevant to generative AI? So firstly, UNESCO, who are actually the developers, of our International Literacy Day, really strongly suggests that literacy is a fundamental human right. So, everyone has the right to develop literacies. And what are literacies? So literacies are the fundamental skills we need to function in our communities, workplaces, and societies. So, in the past, we might have said the fundamental literacies, reading and writing, and maybe maths. But, as Anna's talk was saying, generative AI is also now becoming a very fundamental skill. So that's why it is really important that, we work towards equitable generative AI as well, like for everyone across the world. And, that can be difficult as well based on different accesses to technology that we have. So that's why I think it's so relevant that World Literacy Day has this theme of literacy in a digital world. Again, really important. And I also just want you all to think about this question. What literacies do you need to succeed in your future career? So again, in the past, it might have been maybe you needed to be really great at, computer programming, like writing reports, But again, thinking about how careers are changing, as Anna was speaking about as well. Again, generative AI might be one of those skills you also really need to master. But again, it's also the one literacy among many literacies that we need. And this is why the universities are so central to providing that environment for us to develop our literacies. And also the lifelong learning. Often we might think, and again, in the model of the past, that, we have a baseline reading and writing skills. We've learned that at a younger age and then we're done. But again, now we live in a world where, technologies are so rapidly progressing that we really need to be lifelong learners. And that's partly why, I love working for a library because, libraries are all about, teaching people at, whatever level they are in life, whatever age. I think keep that in mind as well, that universities, libraries, we're, always open to people across so many different stages of their lives and careers. And we're all on that journey where we, have to continuously learn. So I have, a PhD in linguistics, but, I'm still also though studying in my spare time, particularly in the realm of, technologies now, because, again, the world, is changing and still it's so important to, always be learning and be able to demonstrate that learning to future employers as well, because that's another, I guess, quality they're looking for now in people who are, still willing to keep learning throughout their entire career. I also have to say, I'm sorry, I'm not keeping too much of a check of the chat, so please just interrupt me if there's anything I need to address. Yeah, so on this topic of literacies, so we've mentioned reading and writing, AI literacy, but what do we mean by AI literacy? So that's the ability to critically engage with artificial intelligence tools. So it's not even just the ability to use them, but as Anna was discussing, it's important to know what's the ethics of using these tools, to know whether the information they're producing is accurate or not. All of this is like AI literacy. And I also want to stress that it's important to still have some domain expertise to evaluate content. So we'll do a little bit of an activity later on as well that'll get us thinking about that. And it's also important to remember still there are situations where we can't use generative AI. So I always think of, say, you're a doctor having a one-to-one conversation with a patient. You won't just be able to get out generative AI on the spot and kind of answer them. They will expect you to, speak to them directly and be an expert in what you're talking about. Similar, say you're maybe a teacher talking to students. You have to set that example that you know your area. And again, you can't just kind of, grab out your ChatGPT app in the moment. So, that's important to think about as well. We have to learn with and without the use of generative AI tools. Okay, and I think what's really changing now, as well with universities, is how they're now assessing student learning. So, in the past might have been, a lot of writing essays, for example, writing reports. But now, we live in a world where, generative AI could potentially write an entire essay for us. But it's still important to know that people are doing the work of learning. So in your own, university career now, you might find that there are more assessment types you need to master. So it's not just essays, you might have to make more videos, design, physical models, in-class debates, practical tests, role playing. Interactive oral exams are another one. So again, having a one-to-one conversation with your tutor and answering questions on the spot. And I think this also shows how we now live in a world where so many different literacies are important now. So it's also not just, writing now is the main, I guess, domain that people have to master. Speaking is becoming a lot more important now, but also digital skills and, as I showed on the other slide as well, numeracy. So it's important that we have this really multifaceted literacy approach now. And I think this is a little bit similar to a point Anna was making as well, that learning matters more than ever. And the way we distinguish ourselves from generative AI tools is like through the engagement with the content we're presented with, and how we can work with empathy, creativity, and problem solving. So again, in relation to the future workplace, we have to be able to show, of course, how we can use generative AI tools, but also what we're going to bring that's unique. And a lot of that is, in that realm of communication skills. So, when we have now a lot of university assessments that are about speaking and presenting, that's really setting us up well as well for the future, where, again, it'll be those like really kind of human skills and managing people and working in a team that will really distinguish us from generative AI tools. Sorry. So I'm just going to play a video now on the basics of prompt writing, and then we're going to do a little activity as well where we're actually using generative AI tools. Oops, and throw away.
Prompting basics. Always verify whether you can use Gen AI. Some assessments allow it, some don't, even within the same subject. So make sure to check your subject outlines carefully. So, how can you use Gen AI tools more effectively? There's no magic formula, but there are a few strategies that can really help you get better results. 1. Be specific and use examples. Think of your prompt as clear instructions. Use action verbs like plan, identify, evaluate, outline, create, and solve. Use examples to further clarify your instruction. Create a practice quiz with 10 multiple-choice questions based on my study notes. Include correct answers and explanations. 2. Provide context and clarity. Who are you writing as? Who is the audience? The Gen AI model will respond differently if you say, I am an undergraduate medical student preparing for an exam, versus, how can I explain this concept to a high school student? 3. Role play. Tell the AI how to respond by giving it a role. Is it a biology expert, a hospital patient, or an interviewer? This will help shape the model's response. I am applying for the following position. Let's conduct a mock interview. You are the panel. Ask me the questions, I'll respond, and you give me feedback at the end. 4. Think about your output format. Tell the model how you want it to present the information, in a table, as a list, or a paragraph, or even a downloadable Excel file. Trying out different formats can help you work out what is best. What steps should we follow when preparing for a group presentation? Provide the output as a numbered list. 5. Create a dialogue. A lot of trial and error is involved in getting it right. Ask the Gen AI follow-up questions. Ask for examples and point out what's missing. This explanation is too vague. Can you include a real-world example and link to peer-reviewed sources that I can check via a URL? Remember, you can also use the Gen AI model to help you refine your prompts. Best of luck.
Great. So yeah, that was just a really short video on just some basics with prompt writing, just to give some ideas as well. Like I particularly like the one of like doing like a mock job interview, for example. Again, that's really valuable skill to have in life. And again, Gen AI can kind of help you practice that. But then, of course, when you actually do the job interview, you won't have Gen AI on hand. But that's, I think, a good example of how it can help, assist your learning rather than completely do your learning for you. So now I've got a little bit of activity to just get us thinking, I guess, firstly, how we use generative AI tools, but then get us critically thinking about what it means to learn. So the first step is to log on to Padlet. So you can either scan this QR code or there's a link. Yeah, that's, thank you, shared in the chat. And we'll give you like 10 minutes to answer the following question. I also share my screen to the Padlet. But what we want you to do is to create an image that highlights a topic you know a lot about. So, can be anything, doesn't have to be university related, like maybe you love baking cakes or something. And then write 1 to 2 sentences on how you would test whether someone else knows this topic. And you can use any generative AI tools that you wish. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with different generative AI tools. If you want any ideas, just type in the chat and we could give you some examples of like Copilot, ChatGPT. We can, help you. But yeah, we'll just give you 10 minutes. I'll also just share to my other screen as well to explain a little bit more what I mean if anyone's feeling a little bit stuck. Okay, so yes, hopefully if you go on that link, you'll get to this pad. So we just put the instructions here. And someone called Bob has given us some examples as well. So just try and replicate that. Create some image and then 1 to 2 sentences on how you would test whether someone else knows this topic. So for example, we have one here on someone's great at, baking cakes. And to bake a cake requires knowledge of mixing ingredients and using correct techniques. So to test whether someone knows this topic, they would ask them to bake a cake from scratch. So anyway, just have a go. And then we'll talk about the meaning of the activity once everyone's had an attempt. So yeah, just go. And if you need any ideas about generative AI tools, just type in the chat as well, and happy to help anyone out.
Dr. Olivia, could we as moderator also join this activity?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
It's quite fun.
So Dr. Olivia, so just want to clarify, we should write on our own sentence to generate the image, is it right?
Oh, so you could use generative AI tools for the whole thing. That's okay. Yeah. Doesn't have
Okay.
to. Yeah. So yeah, you can use any tools. No limits. So
Maybe Dr. Olivia, one example from you.
yeah. So yeah, just try to think of another one. Well, maybe something I know is I don't know, like how to play tennis. So how would I test whether someone can play tennis? I wouldn't get them to actually write an essay. I would play a game of tennis with them. So yeah, so just think of something you enjoy doing. Doesn't exactly have to be university related. And then just think about how you would then test that person. Like, how would you test whether that person actually is good at tennis or not, or good at baking a cake, or good at computer programming? Also, to give a hint, you could like put this question into a generative AI tool as well, like just straight in with your example. Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention. So to just add to this, you just press the plus icon here, and then you can just copy and paste an image directly in. Yeah, it does take a little bit of time, doesn't it, to generate images? People are participating. So Ari's got to test someone's knowledge. I would ask them to explain the function of key ingredients like baking soda and baking powder. Great. So that's, yeah, to test their, yeah, kind of cooking abilities. So yeah, the science behind leavening and can troubleshoot a recipe beyond just following instructions. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that as well. Um, as part of this activity is also getting us to think about if we're testing someone, is that something they could just use generative AI for, or would we want them to demonstrate that in a different way? So again, if someone has to actually talk about that, then we will know for sure that that knowledge has come, from their brain rather than they copied and pasted, like a generative AI answer. So yeah, and I feel like this is what kind of universities are now grappling with as well. Like, how do we know that people are learning? And again, when we live in a world with lots of generative AI tools. Um, and there's also a little bit of a dual purpose to this task because again, you are though using generative AI tools to think about it as well. So it is also building your skills in using tools, but also really thinking critically. So maybe you might want to look at what the generative AI has created as well with these examples, and if you could add anything else to this, or is there something not correct with the generative AI response? Um, and that's why I asked as well to make sure you're talking about something that you're an expert in. Because it's only really when you're a kind of expert in that topic that you can know for sure, whether the response is factually, correct. Or you have to, then consult other experts or consult an expert in that field to know. So again, the human element is so important. Um, anyway, you could keep, completing that activity, but I do see we're probably a little bit stretched for time. So, oh, great. Yes, something about beagles. Yeah. Yeah, I would ask them to share relevant experiences. Okay, and discuss them. Yeah, so whether someone, knows, the Beagles, you would maybe then have a conversation with them. Great. So one thing, although we've all got different topics here, what we can see is maybe quite in common with a lot of our responses is we actually test people's knowledge more through like a conversation, or they're able to model that behavior in front of us, like able to, bake a cake in front of us as well. So that's really interesting to think about, what does it actually mean to learn? It might not just be, writing something down. You actually have to demonstrate that in some way. So anyway, sorry, I think we're a little bit short of time. So I'm just going to move on to my next slide. Oops. All right. Okay. Okay, so that's the activity we did. Thanks, everyone. So yeah, you still have that link, so you can go back and have a look at people's responses. Just firstly think about, did you find it easy to generate the response? To say if you did find it quite easy, that means you have like really good generative AI skills. So that's like a little nice test as well. And based on that response you got, do you think someone could answer your topic with the use of generative AI? It doesn't matter. How, again, could you test that person like through a conversation instead? And we can also like think about the importance of expertise when we're using generative AI tools. So again, how do you know if information is credible? We know whether, information is credible by, being in a community of experts. So you either, have to be an expert in that topic, or again, this is, the purpose of libraries, to find the research written by the experts. So again, we still have to go through that process with using generative AI tools. I also just really want to quickly share this resource that's really good for getting us to critically think about the limits of generative AI tools. So it has this nice question, like, ever wondered why AI sometimes confidently states facts that are completely wrong about recent events? And it's because they're static, these models, and they don't automatically learn new things or update over time. So they describe it that generative AI models are like time capsules, and they preserve, knowledge and understanding in a specific moment in time. And of course, we have generative AI tools that can now search the internet or access live data. But the model itself can still only ever know what existed at the time it was created. I'll share this link in the chat. But it's really, interesting as well to think that, generative AI models also always give us a slightly different response, even if we're using the same model. Because it's all, kind of randomized. So this is like a kind of fun activity. You can try to like put in a question and see, how different the responses are based on the different generative AI models. So it's got where you can compare everything all at once on the same web page. So again, think about something that you're an expert in and ask it a question, and then, critically evaluate those answers. Think about what references the tool is using, whether those references actually exist. There's a lot to kind of think about here. And there's some nice like reflection questions as well. And, when you're using generative AI tools, also always look for any information they share about what data the model was trained on, and at what year it was as well. Right. Yeah, so anyway, this is just a really nice resource. I won't talk about it for too much time, but there's lots of little games you can play here as well, though, to get you critically thinking about generative AI tools. Okay, so now I'll just go back to my slides. Sorry, can I just check everyone sees the new slide shared?
Yes, we can see it.
Yep, the robot. Yep, great. Yeah, so I've been talking a bit about how we critically evaluate generative AI tools. And a really nice way to remember that is through the robot acronym. So again, it's just helps jog our memory of what to think about when we're using generative AI tools. So first point is R for reliability. So how reliable is the technology? Do you know if your data is secure or private? We need to be really careful about sharing personal information in generative AI tools. So like email addresses, phone numbers. The generative AI model can train on that data. Also important if we're working in research, for example, that we have permission to use the data of other people, for example. So we can't use people's data without their consent. So that's reliability. Then O for objective. So why are you developing this text or image? Think about the mix of human and AI input. So again, it's really important, even if you're generating an image, to think about what your human input into that was. Like, was it through the idea? Did you refine the prompt? What problem are you trying to solve? So, make sure there's some element of you always in the work you're doing. And similar, like with text, you might want to use it as the, basis of helping you write an email, but think of how you make that more personal. How do you add your personality to that text? Next is bias. So does your text or image reflect harmful biases or stereotypes? Can you reverse them? So, to give an example, generative AI tools might say a medical doctor is always a man. So that's a bias, right? And obviously that's not true. Medical doctors can be lots of different genders. So, think about what the generative AI tool might be showing, and then think of how you can reverse that stereotype. So, how can you correct the text to say that you could be a male or female doctor? So that's bias. And then ownership. So what platform have you used? Do they own your work? Are there any copyright issues? This is, I think, particularly relevant when you're maybe, creating images with generative AI. Will you then have, permission to use that image across, different platforms or publish that image? Again, it depends what tool you use. So at Western Sydney Uni, we're Adobe Creative Campus. So if you use Adobe to create images, they're copyright free. So you have permission to use that image broadly. But again, it really depends on the platform you're using. Okay. And then just type. So what model are you using, and does it suit your aims? Okay, so I'm sorry, I know we're really running out of time, but I've just got one hopefully quick activity just to test our knowledge from today, and hopefully it'll just be like a really fun way to end our session. I promise it will probably only take like a few minutes. So just if you can scan that QR code or go onto Kahoot. And I'm just going to play it from my perspective. Okay.
We allowed to participate, Dr. Olivia?
Sorry?
Are we allowed as moderator to participate?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And yeah, the
Okay.
game pin is 492417. So I can share. Hopefully that is an easier way to get to it. Anyway, yeah, I promise it'll only take a few minutes, and just a good way to remember everything discussed in the webinar today. Okay, great. People are joining. Yay. Okay, so we might start now. Okay, everyone's ready. Okay, World Literacy Day, Gen AI quiz. Okay, so what is literacy according to UNESCO? Okay, 14 answers. Yay, most people got it. So fundamental human rights. Great. Okay. Oh, moderator one is doing really well. Okay, two. What should you be careful with when using Gen AI tools? Information, too detailed, too quickly, or there's no concern. Okay, yay, most people got that. So yeah, don't share like personal information like email addresses. Oh, we've got a bit of a change in the leaderboard. Wow. Okay, so you asked Gemini to translate a paragraph into another language. What could be an issue? So it's always certified legal translations. It misinterpret idioms or lose important cultural nuance. It'll refuse to translate, or there's no risks of using translation tools. Yay! Great, everyone did well there. So yeah, it could misinterpret idioms or lose, important cultural nuance. Hey, great. Ooh, Waiso has a streak, 3 correct answers in a row. Great. Okay, question 4. So use Microsoft Copilot to write your job application, but decide not to review or edit the content. Are there issues? So yes, it will match your personal voice and experience accurately. Yes, it may use generic or inaccurate details and not reflect your skills. No, employers prefer AI-written applications. Or no, Copilot personalizes your application with your social media data. Yay, most people got that. So yeah, it could be generic or have inaccurate details. Again, keeping in mind like you haven't checked it at all. Yay, great. Shara's doing great. Okay. So you asked Claude to generate a list of books to read based on the science fiction genre. Are there any issues with this? Okay, so yes, this is replacing the only tasks librarians do. Cool. Yes, bias, males are the only lead and the books might not exist. Or no, Claude is the most accurate Gen AI model out there. Or no, everyone will think you're cool. Hey, yeah, most people got that. So yes, there could be some bias, maybe like it might just say males are the only leads, or maybe the books don't exist as well. Oh, great. Shara's doing well. Yeah. Okay. So what is the best way to know if someone can bake a cake? Thinking about our activity. So what would you do? Watch them bake a cake, ask them to email you 1 to 3 sentences about it, ask them to submit an essay, or watch them reading a recipe book. Yeah, I almost got that. So yeah, you watch them bake a cake. So again, learning is, about people kind of demonstrating skills to us. Okay. Yeah, Shara is doing so well. Okay. Our final question, I think. So how are universities preparing students for the future of learning? They're only making students write essays. They're testing students on how they work with and without the use of Gen AI. They're asking students to remember the robot acronym or asking students to outsource all their work to Gen AI. Yeah, so testing students on how they work with and without the use of Gen AI. So great work, everyone. Okay, now we get to the fun part, the podium. Okay, he was in 3rd place. Ari is in 2nd place. And who have we got as our winner? Yeah, sure. Yay, congrats. So good. And we have Vin and Waiso as well in 4th and 5th. Great. So yeah, thank you everyone. I just thought that might be a good activity just to test our knowledge. So thank you. I'm just going to share, one final slide. If there's anything you kind of wanted to look back on from today. So yeah, firstly, thanks very much for your participation. I wanted to make it a little bit more interactive. If you're a Western Sydney University student, similar resources and videos can be found on our Study Smart website. So you can either use that website or just Google Study Smart Western Sydney University or Generative AI Western Sydney University. I'd also recommend checking out the Gen AI arcade as well. Lots of little fun games to just get you thinking critically about generative AI. And I also recommend this site called Texa that has advice for students on artificial intelligence. It's really good as well because they publish everything in multiple languages as well. So that's just like a nice resource to have and to share with people as well. But yes, that's it from me. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I went a little bit over time.
Thank you, Dr. Olivia. That's wonderful sessions, a lot of activity and also games just now, but unfortunately, I'm not the winners. Congratulations for the winners. I think Sarah who's the winners. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you again, Dr. Olivia, for your insightful presentation and the activity. I hope everyone enjoy as I enjoy the games. So now we want to open the floor to hear the question and comments from our audience.
Yeah, right, Mr. Serial. We now like to open the 2 questions. You may raise your hand to speak or type your question in the chat if you're shy. If you prefer using Indonesian, don't worry, as the moderator will translate your question to the speaker.
Everyone, please ask the question for our wonderful speakers today. Don't miss this chance to ask directly. Maybe before the question from audience, I also curious. Oh, we got the question on the chat. So I will read it. I think the question from Arian India. What if you've been using ChatGPT for a while and over time the tool understand you better and generate response that suit your needs? Yeah, that's happened. But then you decide to try another tools like Gemini and you find that you need to try it again. That's also true. Just make it fun. Just make it fit your preference. Do you have any suggestion on how to quick adjust a new tool so it align with our needs? Yeah.
Yeah, firstly, thank you, Ari. That's like a really great question. And yeah, it made me think about something that happened to me recently. Like, I use Microsoft Copilot a lot because that's what Western Sydney Uni recommends. And I was trying to make a certificate for one of my colleagues, and it made the certificate, but it was really scary. It said, like, do you want your manager, Linda Parker, to sign it? Like, or like to create like a signature, like a fake one. So even though, there's a bit of ethical um difficulties there as well, like forgery, but yeah, it was scary. It's like it knew straight away who my manager is. Yeah, sorry, your question just made me think about that. How well, like if we're using these tools a lot, like it does pick up on a lot of knowledge about us. But yeah, I know your question is about if you're kind of switching over to another tool, how it could like quickly adjust. Yeah, again, it all just depends, I guess, like how you're prompting it. So maybe if you're like again, a tool like ChatGPT will have like your conversation history. So you could maybe copy and paste like different chats and then upload it into the new tool and give the prompt like, can you train on these previous chats and make sure this data is incorporated in your future responses. Sometimes as well, tools will allow you to just upload documents into them as well. Another thing you could do is like with Microsoft Copilot or ChatGPT, you can also now build like your own chatbot in there. So it's either called like a chatbot or an agent, and it will have a field where it asks you to upload again information onto it. So, if you've kept that document with the details you wanted to remember, like, I don't know, maybe particular study notes, then you could, just easily upload that into the tool. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, yeah, interesting question to think about, and also though important to remember, like to share data that you're comfortable sharing with as an individual. Like I said, I got a bit of a fright that generative AI knew who my manager was, but so yeah, I've probably like been using that tool a lot. But yeah, great question. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Olivia. Maybe the questioner, Ari and India, have any further question, or I hope the answer it helps you. I also experienced that, Dr. Olivia. So ChatGPT know me more than me myself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
And
we. Yeah,
Oh
please.
yeah, I was going to say, and sometimes that could be useful, maybe like say you're preparing for a job interview, if it, knows like your previous skills. Actually, I've done this before as well. I've asked it to create like a little like LinkedIn bio for me, and it will pick up on skills that I like forgot that I had. So yeah, that's how it could like, also help you in your career. Yeah.
Maybe we could open one last question for everyone. If any questions. Again, if you're unsure to ask in English, you could type it in Indonesia. We as moderators can help you to translate it to our speakers. No questions, so all clear.
Has any questions later as well,
Right.
always happy to like reply to emails. So I can just put my email address in the chat as well.
Oh, this is one question from
Mm.
Jay. Is Grammarly and WordTune app classified as ChatGPT? I think the question
Oh,
is more about is it that these tools called as generative AI, not ChatGPT, yeah? Because ChatGPT is another tools, I think.
yeah.
Maybe, Dr. Olivia, could you please explain more?
Yeah, so I think, yeah, Jay is asking, does Grammarly, for example, have generative AI features? And in short, it can have generative AI features, so you have the option to turn it on or off. So I guess talking just in a university context, if you have a subject that says you can't use generative AI, it's best if you're using Grammarly to go into it and just turn off the generative AI feature. But again, if you're in a subject where generative AI use is allowed, then it's fine to use it. But yeah, in short, Grammarly has two versions. It has like the generative AI version that can like help you kind of rewrite things or generate brand new text. So again, generative AI is often about generating something new. But like there's also the Grammarly feature that's more like a spell checker or a grammar checker, and that's not generative AI because it's not really like generating new text for you. It's just working like Microsoft Word spell checker. It's just highlighting where a spelling error might be.